Good evening and welcome to this week's Loose Links, as we've got a brand new panel. Nobody's returned. Join us for the next hour of fun. This week's Loose Links. Joining me on the panel, Nicholas James, is Sue Humphrey.
You know,
Claire Browning May. And Leah Greenwood.
hello.
As we talk about, as it's been in news this week, the land of football and sexual assault. But find out what we think about the story and the movement of sexual assault moving forward. Also, we talk about how much we are on our screens and if we should leave our screens alone and spend more time with the people around us. And we finish on the subject of a guy talking about sport. But is sport still a healthy and safe place to be in the year of 2023? All that and a lot more on this week's Loose. Good evening, panel! Hi, everybody. How is everybody?
Hello.
It's nice. Sue Humphrey, I've got to do a massive shout out to you this week because Sue Humphrey was supposed to be Sanjay Hitwell, but Sanjay Hitwell is not very well, so Sue Humphrey has stepped in for us. Thank you ever so much, Sue. You've saved our lives.
Yeah.
Leah, it's your second show. How are you feeling?
Good, thank you.
Are you ready to talk? Do you feel like you've got a lot more to talk about this week?
Well, you couldn't shut me up last time, so hope I'm not that bad.
Claire, you've talked about it many, many times, so let's just briefly ask you. You are a worker in a school. How was your first day back at term?
It was okay, yeah, because there was no kids. It was all safeguarding and all that you do. And we've got a new head. So we've had a lady head for over 16 years, and now we've got a new head, and he's a man.
Wow.
So, but yeah, all went well. So hopefully, yeah, we will see.
Good. So we'll start off straight away, ladies. We're starting off with a controversial topic this week. And as I'm sure you've seen in the news this week, there's been a famous lady footballer that is calling out a manager of sexual assault by kissing her on the lips without asking for the permission of doing so. She's taken this forward only because he has backlashed back to say that he has not done it and it was fine what he did to her. So ladies, did you see the story this week and how did you feel about it when you read it? Let's go to you first, Sue.
Running for about 3 weeks now, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry. Because it's since the World Cup final, so that must be at least 3 weeks.
Yeah.
What do I think about it? Well, she's obviously affronted the player. And I think he should apologise, really, because she's affronted. You know, I struggle with it a bit because I'm of the generation where we didn't talk a lot about the sexual harassment, and you know, it was called flirting in my day. And it's a really big issue today, and I understand it, and I understand why. And I certainly don't feel that anyone should exert power over another person through their sexual advances or anything like that. But I can also sort of appreciate that in the excitement of the moment, you would give somebody a big hug, you know, or give them a kiss. Or I think it's the fact that he kissed her on the lips. And when I looked at the photos today before the show, he was actually holding her head like, you know, she couldn't move really. I still think he should have apologized, because she was affronted. You know, for him to turn around and say, I didn't do anything wrong, he obviously did something wrong, because she was upset.
And I think that's the problem, isn't it? The problem with this story is that she has made him aware that you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And the reason it's become so big and so massive in the press is because he's fighting against it. And he's saying, actually, I did nothing wrong. Well, in my eyes, ladies, jump in. In my eyes, if I had come to any of you and kissed you on the lips, and then you said to me, actually, that wasn't acceptable, Nick, what you did there was not acceptable, the first thing I would do is apologize, is say, well, I didn't mean to upset you at all, I was just in the moment, I was lost in it. But it's because he's fighting this. He is stating that what he did to her was absolutely fine. Well, if he just apologised and just said sorry in the beginning and actually owned what he did, clearly seen on camera, would it have exploded as much as it did? Let's go to you first, Claire. Tell me what you think.
Yeah, no, I agree with what you said. Do you know what I mean? If that was the case, that they're all so excited. You know, they've just won, and he, as you see, is elated. And you know, he sees her, grabs her by the face, and the first thing he's done, like you say, is kissed her. Now, if that was me, I'd have gone in all tongues, because you know it's been a long time. But anyway, going back to the subject, yeah, it's wrong. You don't, you know. Stop it, Mr. Nick. It's wrong. And just an apology would, I think, may suffice. But no, he's saying he's done nothing wrong. He's clearly upset about it. So, yeah, he deserves all he gets, really, doesn't he? Because it's his career at the end of the day. You know, she didn't like it. He did what he wanted to do.
Leah, you're in the land of sport a little bit, aren't you? Would you be horrified if a man came over to you and kissed you on a celebration? Would that not be very good?
Yeah.
Well, if he was fit, I'd be like, ooh, why not? No, I would be absolutely horrified. And like, I understand, like you said, you know, if people are really happy and elated that they've just won, then why not give somebody a cuddle and congratulations, and even a kiss on the cheek if you really want to kiss somebody. But I think the kissing on the lips is bang out of order. You know, would he have done that if it was another man?
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Is it? You know, it's not acceptable anyway, is it? If it's not consensual, but no, I don't think it's acceptable, regardless.
He didn't do it to all of them, did he? You know,
no.
Actually, in an odd sort of way, makes it even more bizarre that he only did it to one person.
Grabbed the face,
you know.
didn't he?
It was the fact that he was holding her head that actually unnerved me a bit. You know, there was no way she was going to get away from that, was there?
No, but like say, you know, he did it. And like you say, in the heat of the moment, you did it, if it was right or wrong. Now, she didn't like that. She's told him she didn't like that, but he's not apologising. That's, I think, is more the issue.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, Nick, if you came along to me and put you out in my face and kissed me, you would be in for a big treat. But yeah.
But you would, wouldn't you? You'd say, "Oh God, I'm so sorry. You know, I'm just so excited. I don't mean to do that."
Yeah.
You know, you would apologise, wouldn't you? Because you know, you don't go around kissing your teammates on, or your coach kissing your player on the lips or anything. You would say sorry, wouldn't you? But just the fact that he said he's not done anything wrong's not right. He needs to take ownership on what he's done.
It's that bit, isn't it? It's that bit that he's fighting against it. This is the big problem. If someone said it to me, but do you think we are now living in a world that we are afraid to do anything. I'm not defending him here at all, but we're afraid to do anything nowadays to anybody, to even like a handshake, to how you like. I've worked in places, and I'm quite. I won't be surprised to hear this, ladies, but I'm quite a cuddly, touchy-feely person. I always have been, and I've always gone in for a cuddle, or I've always, if I only if I like you, that's it. You know, if I like you, because I'll touch you. But if I don't like you, I won't touch you. But do you think we are getting into a land where we can't do anything nowadays without somebody being offended, or how do we greet people nowadays? How do we say hello to each other nowadays? Do you get what I'm saying? Do you think we are hitting a world like
that? I honestly think we are. I think that we have to be so careful about what we say and what we do, because, you know, you could unintentionally brush past somebody and like touch them on the bum or something like that, and then all of a sudden it's a sexual assault, even though it was done in by accident or something like that. I think it's gone crazy, but that's just my opinion.
No, I agree with you. I think everything like that, you know, with the touchy-feely bit, you don't know what to do. You know, do you shake someone's hand? Do you cuddle them? I mean, like you, Nick, I am a cuddly person, you know, so if I meet somebody, even for the first time, say like if it was a friend of yours, which I think I did actually, but, you know, go for a cuddle. If they don't want one, then, you know, they'd pull away. But it's everything. It's like how, you know, do you say he? Do you say she? Go into colour. You know, I don't know what is the right thing to do, to say. And then now we're getting on to this, as in, you know, when you meet somebody, so we're all just going to be all like prim and proper and just go, hello.
that? But the other thing is, well, I've actually done some research this week. Like, you usually have to do the email and then leave it until the show. But I've actually done some research. Do you know, in some workplaces now, you can't even ask a colleague if they've had a good weekend. Because if you ask a colleague if they've had a good weekend, you are invading privacy and privacy by asking that question. But how bloody ridiculous is that? What I don't get is if I've had a really, really bad weekend, and I go into an office on Monday, unless I'm close to you, there's a difference if I'm very close to you, I will go into the weekend. But if somebody says it to me, because I've been in management, and if somebody says to me, have you had a good weekend? Your natural reaction is, yeah, I've had a lovely weekend, thank you very much. Have you had a nice weekend? But we're getting to the point now that we can't even ask that question. How do you feel about that?
We're social animals, aren't we? It's crazy. I mean, we are social animals, and the more barriers we put in place like that, the less we become less human, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, it is getting to the point of being too extreme, I think. You know, if you can't ask someone, did they have a good weekend? I mean, if they don't want to say, they've just got to say, well, I'd rather not say thank you, and please don't ask me again. You know, but and then you know that you're not stupid, isn't it? Again. But to me, it just seems bonkers. I'm sorry, it just seems bonkers. I mean, how on earth do you? I found myself having a conversation with someone and asking a not particularly invasive question, you know, about their family or their whatever, and actually stopping myself and saying to that person, oh, I'm really sorry, that's actually got nothing to do with me, you know, you don't tell me if you don't want. Do you know what I mean? And it hasn't been a particularly, I didn't feel as if I was invading their privacy. I was just asking about their life in general. Do you know what I mean? And I find myself Yeah, I find myself more and more doing that. You know, I find myself asking people, do they mind if I give them a hug?
Yeah.
You know, and that's very counterintuitive for me, because like you and like Claire, I'm a hugger. I mean, COVID changed that a lot, I think. But yeah, more and more I'm just, and I just think it dehumanizes us, actually, because, you know, we're descended from apes, for goodness sake, and they all hug each other.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be like you when you walk down the street and you see somebody and you always say, "Oh, hi, how are you doing? You all right?" "Oh, yeah, I'm great, thank you. Are you?" "Yeah, I'm good, thank you." So would that be not allowed then, because you're asking how they are? And you know, that's like an automatic response, isn't it? Like, "Oh, hi, how are you doing?" "Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Are you?"
But the 90% of the time, Leah, even if we're not good, we
Yeah, we
say
say that
we're
we're
good.
Yeah.
Even if we're not good at that time, people aren't looking. It's like an off the cuff question, aren't they? People aren't looking for in detailed motions of your life. It's sort of a passing question, isn't it? It's sort of, instead of just ignoring somebody in the morning, it's saying, "Hello, you're right, how are you doing?" But we're even getting to the point of not being able to say that because it's too much privacy. It's too indicative. Go on.
Or you couldn't even say "good morning," because somebody'd be like, "Well, what's good about it?"
Yeah.
It's just absolutely ridiculous.
But it did make me think about the gentleman stating that actually he's not saying sorry because he didn't think he was in the wrong. Ladies, is it really sometimes sorry is the hardest word to say?
It depends, like I say, in that situation, he doesn't think he's wrong, but you've got the whole of the, you know, everybody else who are saying he is wrong. So, you know, to save face, wouldn't you just think he would say, oh, I'm really sorry, you know, I got caught up in the emotion. Yeah, I am sorry, I shouldn't have done that. But no, in the end, he's going, well, I've done nothing wrong, you know, I was just hugging you, kissing you, because I wanted to, you know.
You find it hard to say when somebody says to you, "You're in the wrong. What you have done is in the wrong," and you're passionate that you were in the right. Is sorry the hardest word to say?
If I was in the right, yes. If I know I'm in the right, or I think I'm in the right, but this is usually between one-on-one. It's not like a great big thing that the whole world's been watching and I'm being judged by. It's just if that usually is the case in what you're talking about, you know, if something's happened and someone says I need to apologize, well, I've done nothing wrong, but there's nobody else there. Here, this is all really minutely been scrutinized, and I think he's about the only one who thinks is not in the wrong. So
go on, Sue. What was you going to say? I could see you.
Well, as Claire was speaking, I was just thinking, I think there's a difference between apologizing for doing something wrong. You know, why did you, I don't know, why did you put that order through on, if you worked in a shop, you know, why did you put that order through on X when it should have gone through on Y? You know, that's a mistake. It's a mistake. And it's easy to say, I'm sorry, because you can see that it was the wrong way to do it. You know, if there's a system or, you know, there's a particular way of doing things, you could always argue, well, actually, I thought it was better to do it this way. And that's worth a conversation. I think the hardest thing, more difficult, is when you hurt people's feelings to say sorry, because very often there was no, you know, that there was no intention to hurt people's feelings. And I mean, you hear it all the time from politicians who say, I'm sorry if that's what you thought,
Yeah.
or I'm
Yeah.
sorry if that's what you felt. It's not actually accepting that you've done something wrong, but it is accepting that you've actually caused upset or hurt to somebody. So I think that there is a distinction, and I think it's harder when feelings are involved.
100%. But have you ever had a moment, Leah, in your life where somebody said to you, actually, you've really hurt me and you've really upset me, but you've had that strong power of thinking, well, I'm not saying sorry. I'm not, because I think I was in the right. I don't think I think I was in the right all along, so I'm not saying sorry to you.
Well, you know, I have. Yes. Yeah, so I have an ongoing issue with one of my family members that's coming through marriage, and I'd upset her by doing something, but I don't think I've done anything wrong, and she wants me to apologise, and I won't apologise because I've not done anything wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm social with her and say hello, how are you doing? But that's as far as it goes. And I'm a very kind, loving person who doesn't like hurting people's feelings, but I won't apologise because I've not done anything wrong. So I'm stubborn as well.
That's the point, isn't it? And do you think that we need to move on, but do you think that's why the man is now, so when we go back to the story, do you think that's why the man is now pushing it and it's exploded even more because he doesn't feel like he's done anything wrong? That's the point, isn't it?
He's not done anything wrong. He's not taken accountability for anything that he's done wrong because he's not done anything wrong, or that's what he thinks.
Yeah. It's weird, isn't it? But we did do a poll on it. Do you think sexual assault is being taken seriously now in the year of 2023? 100% of you said no. It's not where it should be at the moment. So please get in touch. Yeah, exactly. Please get in touch. I've got some exciting news to tell you, ladies, before we move on. And I must say it in this show because I keep bloody forgetting every single week. But we are celebrating on Loose Links this March. So this March just gone. We have been running for 4 years, ladies. 4 years on the screen. Thank you to every single supporter out there. You mean the absolute world to us. We love doing what we do, but it really wouldn't be without you guys watching the other end. So thank you very, very much. But we move on, ladies, to our next topic. Campaigners for thousands more people face benefit I can't say the words. Benefit deductions because the government are moving forward with the benefit scheme. Obviously, there are thousands of people, as we briefly talked about, out there in the next couple of weeks losing jobs and will be signing on and looking for new employment, especially in the land of Wilkinsons. We send our condolences out to anybody that's struggling at the moment or trying to find a new job or losing their job at the moment. But the DWP have decided to make changes in the benefit systems all over again, which means people that are on a lot more money that they're on at the moment will be getting deductions out of their benefit scheme because the government have decided that the system is not working. Do you think this is fair, or do you believe that we have to be responsible with our own money, with our own benefit scheme? So years ago, there used to be something that called housing benefit and council tax benefit, and it was all separate. It was all in different buckets of money and stuff like that. Now we have one system that's called universal credit, which means that people are sent benefits and they have to deal with it themselves. So they're given one pot of money instead of like 5 pots of money. But in that money, they are responsible for their rent, for their council tax, and they have to pay it. It's not a system anymore where where people do it for you. The system is now where you are responsible for your own money. Do you think this is right?
I don't know to say if it's right or it's not, but you can see it's not working because a lot of people can't manage money. You know, you get, especially in this day and age, with everything being as expensive as it is, you know, they're going to go for food and things first before they go for the other things, aren't they? So it was easier when it was set up that, right, that bit goes to you, that bit goes to you, that bit goes to you, and you're left with that. Then they knew what they've got left to spend. But now, no, because they've got to do it. And a lot of people, you know, and I'm not saying the people that are on benefits, because some can, some can't, but they don't know how to budget, you know, and put aside that for that and that for that. If they've got the money, they're going to spend it. So it's not working. So I can't understand why, you know, they're doing like the universal credit thing, because, you know, it just goes with like tax credits and child tax credits. You know, they take what so you're on like a real good sum, and then you've probably got a few extra hours in work. So the following year, they'll deduct that, what you've earned extra, but you then that year that you're on might not be getting what you were getting. Do you know what I mean? The system's not right for what they're doing, because people can't budget. So, you know, they might be having a good month, but then like they calculated the following year and it's that bad. And this is what I think the universal credit's doing. You know, people don't know how to budget. They're given this money and, you know, they think, whoa, but no, you've got to pay A, B and C before you can have D and E. But no, so it's hard.
Without going into your whole world, you've worked in a career where you have seen people on benefits. Has it been frustrating? Have you seen people very frustrated with how the system works, and how did you react when people were frustrated?
Is that a question for me? Sorry. Nick.
Yeah.
I have worked with people who are on benefits, trying to get them into. I've worked with long-term unemployed people, trying to get them into employment, and offering them support and the skills to do that. I'm a little confused, I have to say, by this question, because I thought it was about, when I read the blurb that you sent to us, I thought it was about deductions being made for overpayments that had happened in the past.
Well, it's overpayments, but the government are now looking into money and how much people are getting. Because years ago, because I've been on the land of.
Oh yeah, I understand about, you know, the government paid for everything and all you got was whatever you needed to live on for your food and things like that.
Yeah.
And that. But I'm going to disagree with Claire, because actually I know there is a lot of help out there to help people budget. And I think we need to start financially educating our children much younger, so that they actually learn to budget when they're younger. You know, when they're at school, they can learn to budget. And I think that's part, I don't know, Claire, is that part of what happens in schools now? Because you're in education now, aren't you?
Well, it will be. Yeah, it will be. I mean, I'm only in primary setting, but
yeah.
As you get up to key stage 2, then budgeting.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think it's a really important life skill. I'm rubbish with money. Nick will tell you, it'll come in one hand and go out the other. But I always know that I've got enough to pay my bills.
Yeah.
You know, I make sure that I've got enough to pay, and I'm on my own now. And my income now is very different to when I was married and living in a big 5-bedroom house and, you know, all that sort of thing, and working full time. But I I really do think that financial budgeting is a real life skill that everyone should be. And I know people with learning difficulties, and if you have, I can't remember what the word is that's the same as dyslexia, but for maths, dyscalculia, isn't it? Dyscalculia or something.
Yeah.
I know some people struggle with maths, but there is help out there. And part of me says, well, why should people on benefits be treated any differently to someone who's earning a living? Because they have to budget. You know, they have to pay their rent, they have to pay their mortgage, they have to pay their electricity bill, they have to pay their council tax, they have to find water for food, money for food. So why should they be treated any differently, regardless of the amount? If the amount is not enough, then I definitely think people should be given a decent amount to live on, especially given all the increases that we've had recently. And it's shocking that, you know, we've got the most food banks in this country of any other European country. I mean, that's absolutely shocking. But part of that, I think, is the inability of some people, I'm not saying all people, but the inability of some people to budget.
But you know how we go. So you know how we go to work to earn money. So we go every day, and some days we don't want to go to work, but we have no choice but to go to work because we have to keep a roof over our heads. We have to earn a living. We have to look after children. We have to pay bills. We have to do all of that. And I'm being very careful because I know there are some people out there that really, really do suffer mentally, challengingly, that they just cannot work. And I am happy to pay my tax for those kind of people that really, really can't get out there, that really struggle with anxiety or mental health or illness or anything like that. I am more than happy to pay for. But when it comes to universal credit, I do think that actually we need a system that these people are earning their universal credit. So what I mean by that is, for me, how I would like to see it is that to earn your monthly money at the end of the month on universal credit is that you've got to work in a charity shop 3 days a week. And you have to get up in the morning, you have to work at this charity shop or this store or this, or where places take on volunteers, where places take on people to come in, and actually, because that's what work life is all about. So for me, to get up and you've got to sign every day to say that you've been there from 8 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock at night, working for the benefit money that you are getting at the end of the month. I think we need to be doing something like that, because just giving people money and just saying, look, and there's been many people that I've known, I'm not going to name, that I've known for years that have said to me, no, I'm not taking that job because I get paid more on benefits than I would be taking that job. And this is where we are failing, because surely there needs to be some kind of system where we are all getting up in the morning and doing something. Do you know what I mean? I'm in between jobs at the moment. I'm quite happy to announce that I'm in between jobs at the moment, and I hate taking free money. I don't like it. It's not embedded in me. I've been working since I was the age of 16. I'm waiting for a DBS to come through that can take forever and a day. But actually, I have no purpose at the moment, and I really struggle with that. I really struggle with having no purpose to get up in the morning and to earn the lifestyle that I'm living. And surely there needs to be a different way of doing it. Do you agree?
Well, when I was working with the long-term unemployed, I used to get really cross when people called it state benefits.
Yeah.
And I think, and we've had this conversation before, we shouldn't call them state benefits, because I can remember having a similar sort of conversation to the one you've had with someone who said, oh no, I'm not going to take that job because I get less.
Yeah.
Now, I understand, you know, that they've got whatever rent to pay or mortgage to pay or whatever, so they need to earn enough, but we all live up to whatever we earn, don't we? Really, very often. We don't stash all the extra away unless you're very, well, I certainly don't, unless you're
I
very
certainly don't say.
unless you're very self-disciplined, you know, and stash it all away. But calling it state benefits makes it sound like it's just something that some anonymous person in an office in Whitehall gives you.
Yeah.
You know, and actually what I used to say to them was, especially the people I used to call the shirkers, which might have been a bit unfair, but there were some, and I hope we'll all agree that sometimes there are, you know, driving around in a great big 4x4 on universal credit. How does that work? You know, but I used to say, yeah, but I'm paying that. I'm paying for you to do that. So is your neighbor or any of your family member who's working, or, you know, so it's all about, like you said, contributing to the community in general. And if you can't work for whatever reason, you know, you're ill or whatever, you could, I mean, if you have some sort of physical or mobility impairment, there's nothing to stop you being on the end of a phone to talk to somebody. You know, you don't have to, these days, you don't have to go out somewhere to work. You can work from home.
Leah, do
Maybe-
you feel, go on, say something. Yeah, go on.
Oh, maybe it should be, and by the way, you're not on free money. You've been working all your life, so you were entitled to the benefits that you are getting at the minute, Nick.
Yeah, but you still feel, I've nearly swore then, you still feel rubbish about it. You still...
Yeah, but you've contributed all your working life for that, so that's nonsense. So I'm not having that.
But do you feel like the work ethic that we all learned when we were really young about going to school and being strict and learning, like all three of you, I know you all really well, and your work ethic, I've either worked with you or friends with you or whatever, and your work ethic has shone through all of you in what you all do. But do you think that work ethic has gone? Do you think younger people are expecting to hit the top, like registered managers and CEOs and stuff like that, and the build up to working and the build up to progression has completely gone?
Yeah, and I personally think, I mean, we can't blame COVID for everything, but I think through COVID, kids have just, or young adults have just been at home doing nothing, and you know, some parents have been getting benefits, and they've seen that they don't have to go to work to earn money or to get money. So why should they get a job when they can just stop at home and not you know, not go to work? But I think that there should be something for like universal credit. I think there should be I think it should be means tested. So like, you know, like we fill out a PIP form for people that get disability living allowance, as it used to be called, but it's now personal independence payment, isn't it? That maybe the universal credit should be, you know, are you actively looking for work? Can you work, you know, and stuff like that. So that I personally think that it should go on something that is tested against some kind of benchmark to say, right, you fit into this category, then you should get this amount of money and stuff like that.
Claire, what do you think? It'd be interesting to hear what you think. What do you think?
Well, again, like you say, yeah, definitely, because like with my son, he's now 19. So when he went from the one before he's 16, I can't remember, mine's gone blank. And then he has to go to PIP. Well, then at that age, it's him that has to answer the questions. Well, usually, you see, before lockdown, they would come to your house. You know, so you'd have this stranger come into your house and you would do a face-to-face questionnaire about, you know, should you be getting this award? You know, well, unless, you know, miraculously he stands up and walks, then you know, they should
And
get it.
I
But
don't,
here,
I'm paying my taxes for someone like your son, Claire.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? There's a physical
yeah,
disability there.
but that's it. But he still had to go through all the questions.
How ridiculous.
So, like Leah said, with the there should be like a means tested thing,
Yeah,
because it's not easy for somebody who you can clearly see needs PIP,
yes,
but you've
yeah,
still got to go through all that.
that's
So
stupid.
why can't a person? Yeah. So why can't a
Ridiculous.
there should be another like means tested thing for if you want to get universal credit or something.
Yeah.
But also as well, like you were saying about the charity shops, you've got all these great big massive supermarkets.
Yeah,
You know, why can't
yeah,
they get them in? It's free money. Okay, they'll have to do some training, they'll have to do this, they'll have to do that. But it's if they really want to work, you know, who knows? There might be a job at the end of it.
yeah, yeah. And it's getting out there, isn't it? But again, we've done a poll on this one. Do you think we have a good system for people that are not working to get back into work? And again, you'll be shocked at this, but 100% of people have said no. We don't have a good system to get people back into work, which has really shocked me because I was half expecting it to be half and half. But ladies, let's move on. As we talk about, experts share the amount of screen time that causes children damage. New researchers have revealed just how much screen time is too much for our little ones. The researchers have conducted at university in Japan that over 7,000 children participated in the study. Sometimes when times are tough, it's easier to plop the child in front of a screen to keep them entertained, while we often debate over whether parents should be doing this or not. Experts in Japan have revealed exactly how much screen time is too much for our little ones, and the researchers was conducted by university in Japan, which looked at the effects of screen times on 1 to 4 years old, with over 7,000 children participating in the study. But I'm not going to focus this on kids. I'm going to state, are you aware of your screen time and how much you are on your phone?
Well, can I just start? I can't usually get my technology to work. So that is not me, because I can't get on it.
But do you think we are? Do you think we are too much? Like when even if you think about partners, really, you haven't seen your partner all day. You go home, you sit down, and the first thing you're on is on your phone. You're catching up on Facebook, you're catching up on TikTok, you're catching up on Instagram, emails, stuff like that you haven't had time to do in the day. Do you think it can really affect our outside world and the people around us because we are too much on our phones? Leah, let's go to you first as the youngest on the panel out of the three ladies. Do you think we are too much on our phones?
Speaking from experience, yes. Yeah, I do. I think our phones, social media, everything is just so accessible on phones, and we just use them for absolutely everything. You know, to spell a word, you Google it. To, you know, when you've got something at work that you need to find out, it's just quick enough to Google it. You know, you come home, you've not been on social media all day, so you'll check on your Facebook, on your Instagram. You know, you go to bed and you check again. Yeah, I do think that we're on our phones too much, and I know that as a family that we identified that we, you know, I was in the kitchen cooking, and like the kids and my husband was sat in the living room, and I walked in and every single one of them people was on their phones, and I was like, Jesus, you know, we're sociable crew here, aren't we? So we made a rule that when we have a family night and we watch a film, everybody has to leave their mobile phones in the kitchen, because it's just it's just taken over people's lives. You know, you don't see a kid walking down the street or an adult walking down the street now without a phone. It's just taken over.
But it's the same.
It's
You go into a restaurant.
Yeah,
you go into
you
a
don't talk.
restaurant.
Yeah.
No one's talking. They're all there like that.
Yeah.
You know, but you do right, Leah. Yeah. As I say, I'm on my own, and my kids now, one's in one room, one's in another. So it's very rare that we all congregate around the table. But if we did, it would be no phones. Because it's the one time that you just want to, have a conversation with them, see how they're doing and everything, without having their heads buried into technology.
Do you agree, Sue? Actually, it'd be quite good to hear what you think. Do you agree that we are too much on
the oldest member of the panel?
The oldest member on the panel. Do you agree?
I must admit, I have found myself in the last 18 months, I would say, definitely having an excess of screen time, which isn't good. And I think a lot of that is to do with, churchy things, as you know.
Yeah.
You never stop working, do you? You never actually stop. If you can get your emails on the phone, people can get your messages. I mean, I because I was working from home during COVID, and I was giving my personal phone mobile number to people I was having to do business with. After COVID, people kept phoning me on that number and not phoning the office number. And I had to say, would you mind not phoning this number now? Because actually, this is my personal mobile. I'm not working from home. You can reach me in the office. But I do find that it's so tempting, isn't it? To, I'll just check my emails. So you're never really off duty. It's not a good thing. The only time I don't have my phone with me is when I'm in the garden. And I make a point of not taking it into the garden with me. So that's my sort of free phone, time. When I look at my granddaughters, one's 6 now and one's 3. And when the 6-year-old was toddling, she hardly ever watched any telly.
Yeah.
They were really strict about telly. Now that they've got 2, they're a bit less strict. So they do ration it, and it's usually sort of that awful hiatus time between sort of getting in from nursery and school and tea time, when everybody's feeling a bit frazzled, and it's sit down and watch 20 minutes of telly. But I don't think I've ever seen them watch more than half an hour.
But it is become an easy babysitter though as well, hasn't it? For busy parents and for busy mums and dads. And I'll even admit that I've sat there and said, as an uncle, not even as a father or a mother, but as an uncle that's gone, Fred, you're spending far too much time on YouTube. Get off it. You need to, the sun's shining, la-di-da-di-da, you need to get out and about. But then, as soon as he's put down his device, I'm sat there like that. Do you know what I mean? And I think, do you think that old saying, when we say to children go to us, well, you're on your phone. And then I've even known to say it where I'll go, well, do what I say, not what I do. Do you think that's still around?
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think that the tablets and iPhones and devices are used as a babysitting tool. Like you said earlier, when mums and dads have got in from a stressful day at work and all they want to do is chill, and the kids are like, ah! And it's just so easy nowadays to sit them down with a tablet than it was to say, go out and play. I mean, God forbid kids go out and play in the street and get mucky and stuff nowadays. They're just sat watching TV or tablets. don't interact with anybody, I don't think it's good for social skills, but it's just an easy babysitting tool. I totally agree.
Massively. And actually, Leah, I quite like what you said about we're having a family night, it's time for a film, la da 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 da. But ladies, coming back, do you think it's healthy for us to have time away from our devices? Do you think it's really healthy to like go out for a day and leave your phone at home? Do you think it's really important to have days like that?
It is. I mean, I don't think I would leave my phone at home if I went out on my own. So I think if you're going out with people, that's different. But for me, it's always it's like a security blanket. You know, if the car breaks down or if I'm stuck somewhere, or you know, I can phone someone for help. Because
when you're on an awful date, so Mum,
yeah,
you're in the hospital. I'm
yeah,
on the way. I'm on the way.
Any date would be, you know, an event. So yeah, I don't think I would go without my phone, but I do think it's good to put them on one side. But what I found myself doing is if I miss a call or something because I've been out in the garden without my phone, I'll apologize to the person for missing their call. Well, how practice is that? You know, I mean, that's crazy, isn't it? I'm really sorry I missed your call. Well, I'm not working today. I was in the garden.
Yeah, exactly. Apart from if
it's like
there's a different story.
Work, I mean.
Come on, Claire, what was you going to say?
No, I was just going to say it's like kids. I don't know if it's all kids or just my daughter who's upstairs. You'll get a text message. I'm hungry. Or, can I have? You know, it's like, really? You don't even communicate with me now when you want something.
It is easier, isn't it? It is easier, but I do think we all need that time that Leah said about, especially when it comes to family. We spend so much time away from family with work life and what's going on and having your own independent social life and meeting with your friends and stuff like that. We've talked about many times on this show about the healthiness of doing stuff on your own in a relationship as well as being in a relationship. But if I haven't seen someone that I'm seeing all day, I get really bloody annoyed if they sit on their phone for the next hour, because I just think, well, you've had time to do this. Why am I not interested? But do you feel we spend far too much time on our phones? 80% have said yes and 20% have said no. So there is a percentage out there that have stated, actually, no, we don't spend too much time on our phones. But, ladies, we finish on quite an interesting topic about wrestlers donated fancy dress and gulped up in a gravy-filled pool for the 15th annual World Gravy Wrestling Championships. Now, ladies, I didn't tell you this in the email, but I've signed us all up for next Saturday. So we're all going to a gravy-filled pool. But what do you think of this, guys? Would this be something you would take a gravy side seat for?
I'd be in there, especially if anybody like Liam Hemsworth was in there. I'd be like, ooh, diving in.
Well, why do you think that we have extreme sport nowadays? Do you think that we're thinking of anything and we're just calling it, this is under the name of sport? There's been things now, and there's this thing on TikTok at the moment that's trending of two men wrestling each other, but they've got to put their hands down each other's shorts and stuff like that. Do you think we're just going to the absolute extreme and just calling it under the name of sport?
Yeah.
Well, you're talking TikTok, Nick. TikTok. That's your favourite thing, and you're talking about screens. How much screen time do you have on TikTok?
If I had that screen thing on my phone, I think I'd be shocked. But now it told me, it was really funny that we're talking about it tonight, because my phone came up with a notification that I was on my phone 1 hour, 59 minutes less than last week. So I think that's like a champion for me.
But I think the gravy wrestling thing is just, when you see now, I would have called it just a bit of fun for charity, and I'd certainly be, I would watch and cheer people on because it's for a good cause. And is it doing anybody any harm? But someone else might actually say, oh, that's totally offensive.
Yeah.
And I don't understand it. I just think it's a laugh and they're doing it for a good cause. So they're not hurting anybody. I don't think they're calling it sport.
But do you think when it comes to rules, violence, and even hostile behaviour, that the world of sport is a different place to our everyday world? So when you think about chanting at a football game, you can be quite offensive to the other side of the team and calling them fat bees and all of that. And actually, if we said that in the real world, we would get crucified for calling somebody an offensive name or shouting or chanting at somebody in the street. But do you think sport has a different world to that? Let's go to you first, Leah, as our sport expert on the panel.
Won't go that far, Nick. Well, it's just the same as what we've been talking about blooming all night, isn't it? Like, people just, you need to wrap people up in cotton wool nowadays, and you can't say anything remotely a little bit offensive without them taking it out of context and getting upset about it and stuff. However, I do feel that we need to be mindful of what we're chanting, because I think some things aren't nice.
But do you think the world of sport is different to everyday life, though? Do you think it's got a different set of rules to, like with the chanting? You wouldn't walk into an office, would you, and shout, "You fat bee," to somebody across the office, would you? But it's okay to do it in the world.
Depends who you work with, doesn't it?
Yeah, but you like going on about football teams. You've got these
depends who you work with.
all these men with legs out, right? You've got a red team, you've got a blue team, and they're all like quarrelling over this little ball, right? And then you've got the supporters, right, all going, "They're to you, they're to you." Can you imagine a load of people from, say, Asda going into Tesco's? "I'm better than you. Oh, I'm better than you." It's like, it's pathetic, isn't it? It really is.
Yeah, it does make an atmosphere as well. So when you go to a sporting event, and I know that, like, being, playing on a team where there is a crowd and they are like chanting for you and cheering your team on, obviously it does make you work harder, and it does make you want to win. So in that respect, I think that, it is a good thing, and you wouldn't do it in everyday life. Like, you wouldn't walk down the street and shout, not abuse, but you wouldn't shout at the top of your voice like, "Yes, go and get that bus," or, do you know what I mean, or something.
Go and get that
like that.
I like that
Yes,
one.
go and get that bus.
Ladies, that brings us to the end of this week's Loose Links. How fast does that hour go? Honestly, my brain goes at 50 miles an hour, but that hour does go fast. Thank you for joining us this week. Can you thank my panel for this evening? Joining me, Nicholas Jones was a senior citizen on the panel, but she joined us this evening. That's Sue Humphrey.
That's my bedtime now. Bye.
The person that loves technology is Claire Brown in May. And the person that's running to get the gravy granules from the kitchen, that's Leah Greenwood. Same time, same place next week. Take care. Bye-bye.